Hi, I'm Shannon Rollings with Shannon Rollings Real Estate. As most people know, I sell a lot of houses every year. Last year alone, I listed and sold 338 listing side homes only. That's a lot of contracts, 338 at least. However, this year it's a completely different ball game where we are seeing multiple offers on every home, sometimes as many as 10 offers on a home. So that's a lot of contracts to be evaluated. So I want to share with buyers from the seller's perspective what they are dealing with and looking at in order to help the buyer make the very best possible offer to win the deal. So I wanted to share with buyers what sellers are looking at when they list a home. Okay, so here we go. The house gets listed. A day or so into it, we get an offer. And so I prepare an analysis kind of like this. And it outlines all the details about the offer for the owner, so it's easy to digest and evaluate the offer. We talk about the offer price, the closing attorney they've requested, the closing date they've requested, the amount of deposit they're putting down, the closing costs they might be asking the seller to pay, the loan type, whether it's FHA, VA, or conventional, whether it's a local lender or an online lender, how much time they're asking for inspections and due diligence, whether they're asking the seller to pay for a home warranty or not, if it's contingent upon them selling the house in order to buy my seller's house, whether they have an escalation clause in there with an increased amount which they're willing to increase their offer by, and whether they visited the home in person. You can see there's a lot to evaluate. It's not just price. Well, okay, we get through one offer, we start talking about what we might want to do, and boom, there's a second offer. So we start the whole process over. We got to evaluate both offers now. So I'm going to create the same kind of analysis. We're going to talk through and walk through it all. And so you can see it's not a quick decision. But before time passes on much longer, now we're seeing the fourth offer, the third offer, the fifth offer, the sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th. And it becomes crazy. So we're looking at a lot of offers to evaluate. So it doesn't always come down to price. Let's evaluate again. What makes this offer that the seller chose important? Now that we're looking down and we have all four offers, you can see all of these other factors under the summary become important. While offer one had the highest offer price at $146, they didn't have the highest deposit amount. Other offers didn't ask for seller to pay any closing costs. They had an FHA loan type, which is not as strong as a conventional or cash buyer because the lending requirements for FHA could be more difficult and the appraisal requirements could be more restrictive. They didn't have a local lender, they had an online lender, which is sometimes a little scary. They asked for 10 days due diligence, which is fine. Their warranty, they asked for a home warranty where the other offers didn't. It was not contingent upon the sale of a home, which is a positive. They didn't have an escalation clause, and they did not visit the home in person. So when you look across the grid to evaluate all, what happened is on offer 4, the agent called me and said, "Hey, we're thinking about bringing an offer. What closing date would be best for your seller?" Oh, well, great. Well, the seller is actually buying a home. They want to close June 1st if at all possible, so they're not homeless in between or have to go live with family. Great. What closing attorney are they using? We'd like to close with the same closing attorney to make it as easy as possible for the seller, and so the seller wants to pick our offer. Well, that's super. We're closing with Fountain Law Firm, and we're closing, like I said, on June 1st. Well, great. We will bring you an offer, and we're going to be using those terms in there for you to hopefully make it as convenient for the seller as possible. It's the only discussion I even had with the buyer's agent that called me, and they brought in an offer. You can see they did not bring in the highest offer price. Their offer price was $143. They put $3,000 earnest deposit down, which was very attractive because it shows they're a strong buyer. And they were going conventional loan type anyway, and they were going to have to put anywhere from 5% to 20% down at closing. So why not go ahead and put it down now? You get it applied to your purchase price at closing. It just shows that you're a stronger buyer to the seller. No closing costs they were asking the seller to pay for the buyer. They were doing the conventional loan as we discussed. They had a local lender, which means I can get that lender on the phone to verify that they're a good buyer for my seller. Then they asked for 7 days due diligence, shorter inspection period. That's pretty appealing to a seller. You probably can go ahead and call your inspector and say, how quickly could you get in there if we get a contract? and they're likely going to be able to get in there within 5 to 7 days. They asked for no home warranty, it was not contingent upon the sale of the home, and they had an escalation clause. They had an escalation clause, which is they're saying basically, I'm offering you $143 for the property, but I'm willing to go up to $146 in $500 increments if you have another offer, and they said in this case that is either cash or conventional, up to $146,000. So that's pretty attractive to a seller just to hear that they're a strong buyer and they really want the house and they're willing to go up to $146 if they have to. And yes, they visited the home in person. So the seller selected this offer, and the reason being, one is they were willing to close the date the seller would love to close on if possible, closing at the attorney's office so the seller doesn't have to drive across town to another attorney's office for closing on closing day, which is so hectic anyway. It's easier to stay at the same attorney's office, sign, buying, sign, selling, and then go move. They did have the escalation clause, but in this case, the other conventional and cash offers were not at least as good as theirs at $143, so it didn't even come into play. The seller accepted this offer at $143 instead of the higher offer because of all of those factors. So as a buyer, you can see it's not just about price. You really should consider, can you qualify for a conventional loan? If you want to go VA, maybe you refinance 6 months or 12 months later to go VA and cash out, get all your money out of the house. You look at all of these factors to come up with the strongest possible offer so you can win the deal. And don't hesitate to call the listing agent to see if there's certain things that would make it more appealing for you and your buyer, you, the buyer, to win. I hope this is helpful. Give me a call. I'd be happy to help you in making an offer and helping you sell your house, whatever we can do to assist you. My team and I are on standby 7 days a week, 9 a.m. to 8 p.m., ready to help.